All Elite Wrestling has released new top 5 rankings for its men's, women's, and tag team divisions, and we will break them down in the following video. In the AEW men's singles division this week, the biggest movement saw former TNT champion Darby Allin drop from the number 3 position to the number 5 spot. This comes as a result of him losing just his second match of the year on Dynamite last week, albeit it was in a handicap match to the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. So that's just Darby Allin's second defeat in 2021. His first came when he dropped the TNT title to the current champion, Miro. Now, Darby Allin dropping 2 spots in the rankings means that powerhouse Will Hobbs moves up 1 spot. He was ranked number 5 last week. His record improves to 9-1. He picked up a win on Dark Elevation this week. Also moving up 1 spot in the rankings as a result of Darby Allin moving down is Orange Cassidy, whose record improved to 10-1-1 when he defeated Cesar Bononi on Dynamite last week. Orange Cassidy's only loss of the year came in the main event triple threat world title match at Double or Nothing, and he also had a draw against Pac when neither man could make the referee's 10 count. In the number 2 spot is Hangman Page. His record sits at 10-1. His only loss this year came in a singles match to Brian Cage. However, he would avenge that loss at Double or Nothing, and now sits firmly in the number 2 spot and is perhaps angling to get a crack at one of the 2 championship belts. In the number 1 spot is Jungle Boy. He earned that right when he won the Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing, and he will move on to challenge Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship on Saturday. Speaking of our champions, both have big title matches coming up. In addition to Kenny Omega defending his title against Jungle Boy on Saturday, Miro will defend the TNT Championship when Dynamite returns to its regular Wednesday time slot. He will take on the unranked Brian Pillman Jr. There wasn't a lot of movement in the AEW women's division this week. However, we did see former AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida drop 1 spot to the number 5 position. That was mainly due to the Best Friends' Chris Statlander, the galaxy's favorite alien, moving up in the rankings fairly quickly since returning from injury. She debuted back in the rankings for the first time in 2021 last week. She moves up to the number 4 position this week. She defeated Renee Michelle on an episode of Dark Elevation. Then the spots 1 through 3 remained the same in the women's division this week, with Thunder Rosa, who didn't compete this week. However, she maintains her number 3 ranking. Ty Conti also didn't compete this week, but she remains in the number 2 position. And then we've got Nyla Rose. Now, Nyla Rose moved from the number 3 spot to the number 1 spot 2 weeks ago, and she looks poised to be Britt Baker's first challenger for the AEW Women's World Championship. Nyla Rose picked up a win on Dark Elevation this week. Her record goes to 15-2. Now, the interesting part about Nyla Rose being the number 1 ranked contender to Britt Baker's title is the record that Nyla Rose has over Britt Baker in singles competition. They've met twice in singles matches in AEW, and Nyla Rose has won both times. She defeated Britt Baker on the Jericho Cruise in 2020. Then back in the World Title Eliminator Tournament, Nyla Rose again defeated Dr. Britt Baker, this time in the semifinals. So what does that mean for Britt Baker's title reign? That Nyla Rose, who seemingly has her number, is now poised, possibly, to get the first crack at her belt. And moving on to the AEW Tag Team Division this week, there wasn't a lot of movement, and there actually wasn't a lot going on in the Tag Team Division this week. If we look at the top 5 rankings here, the top 3 teams all picked up victories on Dark or Dark Elevation. That's the Varsity Blondes, the Acclaimed, and FTR. Whereas Private Party and Santana Ortiz had the week off. FTR moves up 1 spot from the number 4 position to the number 3 spot as a result of picking up that win on Dark, while Private Party drops from the number 3 spot to the number 4 spot as a result of having the week off. As for the champions, the Young Bucks, Nick Jackson had the week off, while Matt Jackson teamed with the Good Brothers in a victory over Frankie Kazarian, Penta El Zero M, and Eddie Kingston. There aren't really any big matches upcoming in the tag team division, and it does appear as though AEW is going to have to do something to determine who will be the next to face the Young Bucks for the tag team titles. So, just looking at the upcoming AEW schedule, this Saturday we've got Jungle Boy challenging Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. Adam Hangman Page and Powerhouse Hobbs will face off in a battle of top 5 ranked singles competitors. Then on Wednesday, Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero will team up to take on Britt Baker and Rebel. Sammy Guevara will take on MJF, and Miro will defend the TNT title against Brian Pillman Jr. That then takes us all the way to Road Rager on July 7th, where we've got a South Beach strap match between Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall scheduled for the James L. Knight Center in Miami, Florida. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notifications bell so you don't miss out on any more news or reports from Spoiler Free Wrestling.